What if your relationship with money was like finding yourself caught in a downpour with no shelter, cold, anxious, always watching the sky, while others seem to live inside, warm and dry, reaching for another cup of coffee by the window? Maybe you've spent years rushing to fix the leaks, tracking every dollar, doubling your efforts, learning new financial tricks, but the storm always finds you. The truth? Most people feel more at home in the rain. Maybe you do too, never realizing that money's discomfort comes not from laziness or ignorance, but from years of tension that taught you to brace for storms instead of believing a roof was possible. Let's clear this up right away. When money makes you shrink, stall, or spiral, it's not some deep personal deficiency. It's the natural impact of experiences, little ones, life-shaking ones, that paired money with unease or even dread. Think about the times you felt your throat tighten when a bill arrives, or how a single unexpected expense can shatter a week's worth of peace. How often does a simple transaction spark a silent sinking feeling you can hardly explain? That's not something broken inside you. It's something learned, reinforced, and carried. If financial advice alone could heal this, every budget worksheet would have cured the pain by now. But why do you freeze when your balance dips, or feel awkward joy after saying yes to a treat, or find yourself apologizing for spending on something you genuinely need? It's because, deep down, your brain has paired money with tension. This is more common than you think. Olivia, for example, always emptied her account as soon as she got paid. Year after year, she'd feel relief when money came in, and an urge to spend it all before something bad could happen. Only when she remembered how, as a child, every happy payday at home was cut short by disaster. A burst pipe, a disappointing phone call. Her body quietly learned to expect loss, not stability. That learned reflex is powerful. In science, it's called a Pavlovian response. Just as a bell can make a dog salivate if it once meant supper, even the sight of a credit card can set off anxiety if your history taught you to brace for pain. It's not imaginary. This is physical, real, and harder to unlearn than any 10-step budgeting hack. Maybe you notice it when your phone rings and you dread it's a debt collector, or your partner asks about finances and suddenly you feel like you're 5 years old about to get scolded. Or you get a small windfall, bonus, refund, gift, and almost compulsively let it seep away as if holding onto it risks disappointment. If any of this rings true, pause for a moment. Where did that script begin? For most of us, it's stitched together from moments across a lifetime. An accident that wiped out savings, a lost job, a relationship fractured by secrets about money, a pandemic that reminded us how quickly normal can collapse. Experiences add up, sometimes quietly, sometimes all at once, and form rules we never speak, but always obey. There's no need for shame in this. The truth is, survival strategies are brilliant, even when they outlast their usefulness. Maybe your way of coping was hoarding every penny, never splurging, always preparing for disaster. Maybe it was the opposite, spending for comfort, to claim a fleeting pleasure. Some of us learned to avoid money talk, while others took on everyone else's burdens, trying to keep peace in families or relationships by emptying their own pockets. What's universal is that each of these patterns was your mind's way of offering safety, not sabotage. What if, instead of fighting that instinct, you stopped to listen? Noticing that first jolt, a tightening, a breath held, a sudden urge to close the app, and tracing it back for just a second, not to blame, but to understand. It was there for a reason, long ago. Once you see the pattern at work, you get to gently test what's real now. You can give yourself a permission to try a new move. Check your balance after a deep breath. Make a plan that includes something just for you. Say no to a draining request, or quietly celebrate a small win instead of brushing it away. Let's imagine Max. He clips coupons with intensity, skips anything extra, and bristles at the thought of being wasteful. For years, he joked about being frugal, but underneath was the ache of a family business lost when he was just starting college. Scarcity became his normal, and the idea of letting money move freely, investing, relaxing about bills, even letting a friend buy dinner, felt impossibly risky. It took time and several tries, but Max found that instead of launching into total control, starting with one act of trust was enough. Saying yes to a small treat, leaving his savings untouched for just a month, noticing afterward that the sky didn't fall. Or take Emma, who always prioritized everyone else's needs over her own. The pattern: give, deplete, repeat. Never resting until everyone around her was satisfied. A partner's disappointment, a parent's sigh, even a friend's passing comment about being bad with money became cues to pour out what she had, even if it meant going without. Here's where change began. Emma started setting aside a me fund, not much, but visible, something she could draw from without asking permission or feeling guilt. The first time she used it, her hands shook, but slowly the story shifted. She could be generous with herself too. Science tells us that small, new experiences, repeated over time, are what rewrite these old signals. Even a simple act like breathing through the urge to panic or noticing tension and responding with reassurance helps build new neural pathways. You can start right now. Before your next financial task, pause. Place your hand over your chest and quietly tell yourself, it's okay to feel nervous. I'm doing something different. Then proceed with gentleness. If anxiety spikes, let it be. Don't force it down, but don't let it drive the bus either. The magic is, you don't have to erase old storms overnight. You just have to stop taking them as prophecy. Every moment that money triggers familiar aches is an invitation, not to change who you are, but to notice how far you've come and to choose, if only for today, a new response. So how would your days look if bad with money became learning to feel safe with money? Would you finally challenge for a raise or take a class or forgive yourself for that impulse buy? Would you invite a friend to split the bill or dare to enjoy something now instead of saving every joy for someday? Picture it. Once you start looking, you'll see countless chances to act from hope instead of habit. Even if you stumble, maybe especially then, remind yourself, old patterns shout loudest just before they change. Growth isn't about doing it perfectly. It's about staying open, noticing what you feel, and repeating the experiment until your nervous system finally gets the message. You're not stuck outside in the rain anymore. What's waiting on the other side isn't just financial calm. It's the quiet freedom of letting go of the past, of daring to stay inside, warm, no matter how hard it poured before. You're not bad with money. You're someone brave enough to feel, to question, to heal, and finally, to trust. Every choice you make in this spirit is a revolution. For you, and for everyone close enough to feel the weather change.